Hello everyone. Welcome you to our last day of BA Excellence Conference, BA Job Function Transformation. And guys, it's a great thing that you are still here with us. If you're new here, you have opportunity to see all 4 days that was before that. Um, in our YouTube channel. And yeah, today we have a great speakers actually. I just want to remind you that today we will have Jan Mazurek, Yulia Kasaryanka, Amal Bragi with their great topics. So stay tuned, and then at the end of the day we will tell you about a little bit about results of this conference. So yeah, please stay with us till the end and have a great conference day. And I want to pass mic to our moderator and speaker for first topic. Guys, good luck.
Thank you. Welcome to the fifth and final day of the BA Excellence Conference dedicated to the BA role transformation. My name is Adam Norder. Firstly, thank you for joining us. We are glad you're here. As stated, it's been a great week of sessions. Our speakers have been sharing their perspectives of how the BA role has changed over the last few years, what the landscape looks like today, and what the future might hold for our BAs. If you missed any of the sessions from the previous days or would like to go back and review those sessions or share those sessions with others, you can get all those sessions on the YouTube channel at BA Community or at wearecommunity.io. Our first speaker today is ready to get us excited about the BA role, remind us that BAs are the unsung heroes of many projects. He has been teaching and mentoring BAs for over 10 years. I introduce to you Jan Mazurek. Jan, take it away.
Sorry, was double muted. So yes, hello everyone, and welcome to today's session. And Adam, thank you so much for this nice presentation. It's so good to be here. It's my second presentation in this conference. I'm super happy to have the opportunity to share with you a bit of my knowledge and a bit of my experience that, like you mentioned, I've been teaching people for the last 10 years or so on various different areas. And actually, I do have a bit of a presentation to share with you today. And I do hope that the information that I will share with you in this presentation, in this talk, will actually be helpful to identify what we as the BAs can do, but also what our customers can do in order to get us one step closer to bridge the gap that we might have while working on various different projects. Now, as this session will be that will be interactive, later on you will see, I will share with you the code to join the Mentimeter, because I will have a couple of questions for you just to get your perception, your insights on a couple of topics and a couple of questions that I will ask you. So without further ado, let us get straight into the topic, and let me share with you information about the gaps that I was able to identify across the years of mentoring. So like Adam mentioned, I'm a business analyst with 10 years of teaching, but also nearly approaching now on 20 years of IT work in general, and 15 of those years were in the role of the business analyst, and I worked on various different projects across different countries. I've performed various different responsibilities, and a part of working in projects, I'm also line manager, speaker at the conferences, but also I am a mentor in the mentoring programs. And only last year, I've managed to mentor 15 people from various different groups, various different experience levels. I've managed to mentor 6 people preparing for the position of the lead business analyst, 2 people who are preparing for the senior business analyst position, but also 5 people who are putting their first step into the IT world. So the experience that I have in mentoring, and that's just only last year, previous years were more of the same. The experience is quite wide, and what I've managed to identify that regardless of the country from whom my mentee was, because I was mentoring people from all the way from Canada to Vietnam, across Netherlands, Belarus, Hungary, or Ukraine, I've managed to identify that there are similarities regardless of the countries from which the mentee is actually from. And like I mentioned, as this session will be an interactive one, I would like to invite everyone to join the Menti portal. So please either scan the QR code that you can see here on the screen, or go to menti.com and type in the code 59704505, because there will be a couple of questions that I will have for you just to get your opinion on various different topics that we'll be covering in this talk. I also, just if you are watching us on live stream on YouTube, I have pasted that link to direct link to Menti in the YouTube channel, and I'm super happy that we already have a couple of thumbs up. So great to have you here with us today. I do hope that we'll have also those thumbs ups appearing or answers in the questions once we will be going through the presentation. So without further ado, let us get straight into the topic, because I have prepared for you, like I've mentioned, the challenge that I identified that also can give us the opportunity for our future growth. And in order to use that opportunity, I have also prepared with a certain solution, and I will share with you also what is the benefit of applying that particular solution. Sounds enigmatic, sounds a bit intriguing, I hope, but without further ado, let us get into the first step of it, and let us talk about the challenge that I identified when it comes to the BA role altogether. And the first, and I think most important aspect of the BA role itself is actually identifying what is the BA role and why we are delivering the work on the projects we are delivering. Because I've noticed in my career when doing mentoring, and not only for the people who are just putting the first steps into the IT world, but I've noticed that not everyone understands the BA role. And sometimes people were telling me that they identify themselves as actually they just work as scribes, that they don't have the real impact on the project, they don't have the real impact on the product, they just tell them what the product owner is telling them, and they just write user stories, and they are transformed more into the backlog managers rather than the business analysts or product owners, but or even proxy product owners. But at the same time, I think we need to get back to the basics, and we need to actually identify that our role is in the title itself, business analyst, meaning we need to analyze the business. We need to make sure that the features that we are taking, the functionalities that we are delivering, are solving a certain business problems. We'll get to more of that in just a couple of minutes when we get to talking about the business needs. But also, some years ago, I had a situation where I was approached by my colleague who is a .NET developer, and he told me, "Jan, I'm so tired of the constant evolution of the .NET language, and I would like to actually switch my career paths to become a business analyst, because you just do the talking, right? You lead the meetings, and my English is good, so I don't see a problem. Why not to become a business analyst?" Well, truth to be told, it's a bit more than just doing the talks, because if you look at the timeline of the methodologies that are being constantly evolved and constantly changing, we also have those changes on our side. Introduction of the extreme programming, the Scrum, the Kanban, scaled agile framework, specification by example. There is a lot of that to incorporate and to understand. There's also the business domains. There's also the building of the relations, the understanding of the process, the coming up with the solutions to the problems, right? So there is a lot to take on board, but also from the customer side, sometimes I think that there might be situations in which the customers not always understand what they are getting when they actually get a business analyst to the project. They don't see the full value that we can bring to the picture, and we are kind of limited by the amount of the responsibilities. And of course, with time, we can build the capabilities and we can build the trust from our customers to get more and more responsibilities. But we somehow need to meet halfway, and I will be talking about how we can do that when we get to the solution part. But just wanted to show you that there is more to BA work than just having conversations. And my first question that I have for you, and this is why we are using the Menti for this presentation, is according to the Chaos Report of 2020, how many of the projects were identified as successful when it comes to the agile projects? So go to Menti, share with me your answer, share with me your thoughts. I would like to get to know how many of those projects you think in the report were identified as successful in agile projects. Because that's kind of also shows why we are constantly delivering and developing new methodologies, new frameworks, new ways of delivering the value to our customers, right? So I see that already there are some answers appearing. There are majority of people are providing the answer that there is actually 42%. And surprisingly enough, it's 42% of people share that 42% is the is the answer. And exactly looking at the chaos report of 2020, that is the correct answer. The 42% of projects in Agile, according to the chaos report, were identified as successful, with 47% being challenged. Being challenged means that either they exceeded the budget, they limited the scope, they were not delivered on time, and 11% of the projects were failed. That's kind of a big number of projects that didn't were not completed with a success. And it's even worse when we look at the waterfall type of projects, because in waterfall, according to the same report, only 13% of the projects were identified as successful, and more of those were challenged, and even more of those they were failed. So definitely there is a way to improve, and that, I'm not saying it's only the business analysts that need to improve, but of course there potentially could be something with what we can do better. But next question that I have for you, based on the same report, out of the features that we are designing and out of the features that we are delivering for our customers, how many of those you think are being frequently used by our customers? So we have, again, 4 answers here. It's 20%, 40%, 60%, or 80%. So it would be good to get your opinion on this one as well. How many of those in the chaos report did the users or did the analysts creating that report identified as frequently used? So I see more and more answers are appearing. That's definitely good to see that. So I will still give you a couple of seconds to come up with the answers. And we see, no one has selected yet the 80% value. The numbers keep growing, And again, majority of the people decided to go with the 20%. That's the biggest value here. And truth to be told, looking at the chaos report, if we would look how many of the features are frequently used, that is exactly that result. It is the 20% of the features that are often used by our users, with 50% of the functionalities being hardly ever used. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, because there might be functionalities like, I don't know, accounting reconciliation being done at the end of every month, only once a month, right? That we only use 12 times in a year. There might be some functionalities that, for example, if we look at solver functionality of Excel, I'm sure a lot of you are using Excel as a tool in your day-to-day work, but potentially not every one of you heard that there is that functionality in the system, right? So sometimes it is also about identifying whether we are delivering the right solution to the problems that we are meeting when working on the project. And we cannot skip talking about the elephant in the room, because talking about the elephant in the room, the way how we receive the requirements will greatly depend on the fact with whom we are talking, and their perspective depends on where they are sitting. And you might have a situation in the project where product sponsor will give you a contradictory requirement to the end user, because product sponsor might follow the procedure, whereas the end users might already know some shortcuts and quicker ways to have the same solution. And different people will see the same object, the same item, from different perspective based on the place that they are sitting, right? So definitely it is also something that we need to make sure that we get the full picture and the full understanding of the problem that we are trying to define. And here we come to the point where we actually talk a bit about the customer service and what we deliver to our customers, and where it meets the customer care. Because Toyota, in their philosophy, they are amazing when it comes to the delivering of the quality of the items. And in their philosophy, they have a statement that it's not enough to meet the expectations of the customer, but it's even more important to exceed those expectations and to be rewarded with a smile. Now, I had a Toyota car, and I remember when giving it to the car station, I always received it back vacuumed and washed, and I felt, oh, this is so nice. And I know I was paying for it, right? But it kind of made me feel a bit special. When I had a Nissan, also Japanese car, that never happened for Nissan when I was giving that to the car station, right? So same country, but already the philosophy of the company might be slightly different, and that's why I kind of enjoy the customer care that Toyota gave me. But that not necessarily means that we need to do the same thing while working on the project, because we need to make sure that we get the right understanding of the problem that we are trying to solve, and that we are focusing on the right item with the right amount of information, that we are not overcooking certain solutions and we are not gold plating certain things. Because if we will try to exceed the expectations of our customers at the expense of our own budget or project budget, and we will deliver things that the customer was not actually asking, because the customer might just want to have a standard chair to put in the kitchen. But if instead of that we will design the whole kitchen, and the customer would actually not be interested in that, then definitely there is something that we could improve in terms of our work. And last conference that we had, we talked a bit about the usage of the AI, and I thought, let's actually ask the AI, what are the top 10 reasons why IT projects fail? And among those answers, the AI provided, information about the insufficient communication that, or ineffective communication, that we do communicate with our stakeholders, but sometimes we don't speak the same language. And I'm not talking about language as usage of English, but just not necessarily on the same page, using the same words to describe the same things. Sometimes it's unrealistic expectations of the customers. But then again, we also can manage those expectations by talking clearer, or sometimes even active listening as a skill to develop, to make sure that we try to again solve the right problem. Sometimes it might be about the fact of poor planning or lack of engagement of the stakeholders on the project. And tell me, looking at those 10 reasons that you here see on the screen, does any of those sound familiar? Were you ever on a project where that situation did occur? Or maybe you know someone who was in that situation. So I would definitely like to get to know your opinion, whether this is something that you've experienced, whether this is something that you were a part of. And actually, we see we've all been there, right? 100% of the respondents to this question already provided with the answer that yes, there is something to that. There is something that we could potentially improve in the ways of working, right? So definitely, that's good to know that I am not alone with my observations in this area. And if we would look at Atlassian and their company values, right? In their company values, they have a value dedicated to um, delivering the value on the customer, or actually maybe not necessarily delivering the value, but not to interfere with the relation with the customer, right? And even if we look also at our own EPAM values, at EPAM we also have quite similar value, where we have the value to focus on the customer. But it not necessarily means that we need to blindly listen to everything that we receive going our ways, because I was auditing projects that we were in a situation where at the end of the sprint, the customer tells, okay, I like the functionality, but could you please move the button from the left to right and change it from orange to blue? And that was taken into the next sprint as the next top priority item, because that was the latest feedback on the customer. And now my question is, how does the change of the color deliver the business value to the customer? Now, I'm not saying we should not capture that requirement. Yes, let's capture it, but let's prioritize it accordingly, so that we make sure that the solution that we define serves the needs of the users that will be using the system. And that solution will help achieve the business requirement. The business goal is delivered by giving that button, and that functionality exists. Awesome. Let's focus on other functionalities that will deliver the business value. And if time will allow us, we will focus on the right requirements, and we will deliver anything that is of a lower priority, but also might be valuable to our customer. But let us not lose the big goal of delivering that functionality. And sometimes that's why we need to have the opportunity to speak up and to talk with our customers to make sure that we are focusing on the right thing. So summing up the challenge and summing up those issues that I identified, it kind of gives me the overview that 70% according to the same report, 70% of the projects were challenged or failed because of the communication, because of the things that we didn't communicate clear enough, fast enough, quick enough to the right people in the right way, through the right channels. We didn't engage them quick enough. We did not had the opportunity to have enough engagement for the stakeholders, or we didn't know how to even ask the proper questions. So in general, this is a big gap that I identified that potentially could help us improve working on the projects going forward. So if that's the challenge of in terms of communication, let us look at the solution, what we can do all together to make sure that we will address that challenge. And the first step and the first idea that I have for you in order to um, improve the situation is kind of have a change of the mind shift. And instead of being reactive to just receiving the task and delivering the task, let us start being proactive. Let us try to find opportunities and to try to analyze whether the requirements, again, really solve the business problem, really bring the value to the customer. We have already at EPAM success stories of the functionalities that we have came up with, and we suggested to our customers saying, we think this functionality will benefit you going forward, right? And by doing so, we might have this opportunity to actually, as one of the quotes say, be the change you want to see in the world, right? And not only kind of wait for the task that we will receive, but also sometimes in a proactive way come up with your ideas. Not long ago, I was on a conference where um, the speaker was on the stage, and there was like a terrible echo, and the someone said, "Do you have a different microphone because there is the echo?" And one of the participants on the conference said that the problem is not with the microphone, the problem is with the settings of the speaker, because there is wrong settings with a lot of reverb and a lot of background noise enabled to make that echo. And the speaker being on the stage said, "Okay, that's the problem. So what is the solution?" And for me, that sentence was like, "Wow, awesome. Let's not only try to be the whistleblower and identifying what are the problems, but it's also whenever we see a problem, try to in a proactive way come up with a solution, right?" And the solution was simple: change the settings on the console to remove the echo effect on the speaker. It was applied, it was fixed, we moved forward. The conference was a big success. Everyone was super happy, and yeah, just a bit of proactiveness, right? But in addition to that, a part of the Mindshift itself, it's also focus on improving the soft skills, right? And let's make sure that we talked a bit about this on yesterday's talk when we had the discussion panel. Ted Vale from a marketing team from US mentioned about actually improving the self-confidence. I would also like to mention about the assertiveness, or if the communication is the problem, also let's try to improve the communication, especially the active listening skills, right? We no longer work in silos. We no longer work with only with the software, only with the products. We work as teams. So let's follow the value, act as a team, and let's in that case improve our communication. And I even myself, I remember in the past, the customer was coming to me with a problem, and I was already solutionizing, trying to save the time for the customer. But how was I able to solutionize a problem if I didn't listen carefully to what the problem was? So sometimes taking a step back and listening to what the problem actually is might help us to make sure that the solution that we apply, and again, looking at that pyramid, going back to the basics, that the system I'm designing, that the solution that I'm delivering, that the solution that the whole team is delivering is targeted on the business needs and the business goals of our customers, right? So definitely improving the soft skills, improving communication, useful thing to go forward. And how we can also do that, how we can make sure that our people will feel that they are delivering the good value, or that they kind of feel that they have a certain impact on the project, and that they are no longer working only as scribes, but also they are working as someone who has this positive impact, right? We tell stakeholders someone who is impacted or can impact the solution. So how we can make sure that people have the impact? By empowering people. And that's something that was also mentioning in this conference. We had a speaker who was talking about the empowerment of people working on the project. And if we manage to grow to a company of this magnitude with so many people worldwide, perhaps it's because we know how to deliver the projects, and we have the right skills, and we have the consultancy, and we have the expertise on how to deliver good value to the customer. So let's make sure that our people are not afraid, for example, to ask questions, that they are not afraid to suggest solutions, that they are not only here to work on um, delivering the task, but they also can have a real impact and a real influence to not only work as a backlog manager, but actually, if they are working as product owners, that they have an impact on that product itself. And this is all on us to actually build an environment in which our employees will feel motivated, that they will feel that they have the autonomy of what to deliver, that we will not, micromanage them, and we will not be, looking at their hands every single day. I'm sure if I would ask you right now, if you would be annoyed that at the end of the day you would need to send a report on what you've been working the whole day, probably that would be, I'll get 100% again of response that yes, that could be an annoying thing. But let's give people the autonomy. Let's give them the possibility to work on the task on which they are working, and make sure that the tasks are of the right challenging level, so that they can apply their skills best to their abilities, that they have the right competencies to perform those tasks, that we assign their roles correctly. And if even the tasks are a bit challenging, and if they are outside of the comfort zone for our employees, that they have the right support and they have the right people to ask the questions, and give them a bit of time, so that we will not also pressure them into tight deadlines that sometimes people will again strive for excellence at the expense of their burnout or at the expense of their exhaustion, right? And in time, as they will get better and better, they will perform those tasks faster and faster, and they will be able to apply those skills best to their abilities. And that will give them the purpose for themselves, that will give them the purpose for the company, that they will feel that they have the impact on the project itself. And doing all of that, those three factors, the autonomy, mastery, and the purpose, all of that aggregates to the motivation. This is the motivation model from Mr. Daniel Pink. It's called Motivation 3.0. You can read more on that in various different sources across the internet. But this motivation will give them the opportunity to have challenging tasks that will get them the motivation to overcome the challenges and feel a sense of accomplishment, to help them develop the skills and develop their career going forward, but it also gives them a bit of excitement and enjoyable working environment. So this is again all on us to build that environment of cooperation, collaboration, and that way we will have people who will be motivated to deliver great value, and together we will be able to act as a team and strive for excellence. What will be the benefits if we apply this solution? Well, the benefits, and I will be quick here, are very simple and very basic. You will have the team that not only will be focused on the customer, but also they will be focused on the goal of us as a company, of the team, of the customer, on the business goals, and they would be dedicated, we all will be dedicated towards achieving that certain goal, to make sure that at the end of the day, every person on the project is happy. We as the BAs identify sometimes ourselves as the interconnectors, that I need to satisfy the customer, I need to satisfy my development team, I need to satisfy my stakeholders, I need to satisfy my unit. So it is a challenge, of course it is a challenge, but it's also a great opportunity to challenge myself and to become better every single day, right? So that's something that we can also have to make sure that we are focused on the goal. And if we are focused on the goal and we build that environment of people who are empowered and who are motivated, we also will have this motivated teams who will actually every single day enjoy coming to work, and they will repay us with good quality of delivering the services. Richard Branson said that if you will take care of the employees, they will take care of the customers. So let's make sure that our employees feel well taken care of, that they have good working environment, that they have good working conditions, that they have the right tools, the right skills, the right expertise to perform the tasks. And by empowering the people, let's give them a bit of sense of ownership, that we are not only here to do the task, but we are actually here to change the world. And that's something that I say to my customers on projects whenever I have the meet and greet session at the very beginning. It's good to introduce yourself and to mention that, yes, hello, I'm Jan, I'm a business analyst, but I don't tell them that I will be responsible for the requirements or I will be responsible for improving the process, because that's not necessarily something that the customer wants to hear, or that they understand how I will be working with that. But I sometimes say, I'm Jan, I'm a business analyst, and my goal on this project is to make your life better. What I mean by that is that, take the process that is not working and improve it for better. Improve the UI, for example. Change the operations, right? So, with that said, we will have this sense of ownership, and we will have this opportunity to, once again, be the change we want to see in the world. And we will have really this opportunity to impact our customers and our projects and our teams and our employees in a positive way. That said, if you would like to have a conversation on this topic in more details, then let's stay in touch. Feel free to reach out to me throughout different channels. You can drop me an email at @ipam.com. You can find me on Skype. You can find me on LinkedIn, or you can also like my profile on Instagram. Let's stay in touch. Let's discuss in more details. So I'd be more than happy to have more opinion from you also. How do you see your experience on the project, and whether you identified the same gaps as I did in my career?
Thank you, Jan. A couple of quick questions for you.
Mhm.
Um, Communication, you talked about it, right? It's such a large part of the BA role. What are some of the key strategies BAs can take to improve their communication skills?
So at IPAM, we have lots of opportunities to practice that. This conference is, for example, a good way to get out of the comfort zone and practice public speaking. But sometimes we also have the discussion clubs. We have English conversation clubs. Uh, and also, even if you don't feel comfortable speaking up, it's a good opportunity to not be discouraged at first when you get out of the comfort zone, but also sometimes, reach out to other colleagues who might be more proficient. Find native speakers who might give you pro tips on how to communicate in a clearer and more decisive way.
Great. And another one, I'm a BA, kind of feeling stuck in a rut, perhaps, of feeling like I'm a scribe or a user story writer. And I know you talked about empowering people, and that's kind of
Mhm.
from the management perspective, but let's think about it from the BA perspective, right? What can I do today to jump out of feeling that like I'm just a scribe or that user story writer?
Mhm. That's also about this mind shift, right? And at IPAM, I'm happy to say that we have a lot of internal trainings that can give you that empowerment, or that can give you the help and assistance in that mind shift, right? So use the advantage of the existing tools. Reach out also to your line manager, because I recently heard a very nice sentence from a colleague of mine who said that, resource manager is not because our people are resources, but because that manager has the resources to help grow our talents. Very much like the sentence, and that's why feel free to reach out to that resource manager, because they might have the resources to help you grow, or will at least guide you in the right direction to make sure that you will feel that comfort going forward.
You bet. And I know we're, globally dispersed everywhere these days, working on different projects and work with a lot of different personalities and cultures. What are some tips you can kind of share for improving communication skills globally?
Uh, This is actually a very good question, because different cultures will also communicate differently. But what helped me is, at the very beginning of the project, have this ways of working meeting where we can discuss and we can agree on rules of communication, but also ways of communication. Because in some cultures, I identified asking questions is identified. I want to clarify. I want to deliver better service. But in other cultures, it is identified as I am undermining your authority, right? Because I received the task, so I should deliver the task. But if I am asking, it means that either I don't understand something, or so cultural aspect comes into play. But if we will sit all together and we will agree that there is nothing wrong with asking questions, and that we again empower the people to build that comfort zone, that mm, worst thing I can do on a project is when I see that the project is going towards a train wreck, I don't react. I don't do nothing. I don't say nothing. And then, when problems happen, well, I wish I could have said something. Well, that's already a bit too late. Right? So definitely, let's again build that cooperation, communication, and that environment where people feel free to speak up and never blame the messenger, blame the message.
Excellent. Well, we'll wrap with that. Thank you, Jan. Excellent insights here today.
The pleasure is all on this side of the screen. And once again, if someone has any questions, I am more than happy to have further conversations. So yeah, feel free to once again reach out to me on various different channels: email, Skype, LinkedIn, Instagram. Any channel is more than welcome. I'm always more than happy to network with you, get more insights from you. And I do hope to speak to you again on another conference in the future.